a long 40 seconds. Minute 30, guys. Minute 30 is going live at minute 30. This is Riley's first time on the board, guys. This is awesome. She's got a lot to do. And Paige, she's gonna start on you at 4. She's gonna start there. Start me at 20. Let me know where we're at 10. Give me a countdown, like 10, 9, 8. All right. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Career Cafe here at Accelerated Radio Studio in Inglewood. Tonight is a very special conversation as we continue to celebrate Women's History Month, recognizing women whose leadership, vision, and commitment have made a lasting impact in our communities. This space represents something powerful: community and connection. Accelerated Radio has been an incredible partner to the Brotherhood Crusade, and partnerships like this are possible because of the strong relationships our guest has built throughout the community. Tonight, we are honored to be joined by someone whose life and career truly reflect the power of community. Please welcome Mrs. Charisse Bremond-Weaver, the President and CEO of Brotherhood.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. So a little bit about Mrs. Weaver. She is the president and CEO of the Brotherhood Crusade, a South Los Angeles nonprofit founded by her late father in 1968. For more than 20 years, she has expanded the organization's reach, raising over $75 million to support programs that serve thousands of low-income youth and families across Los Angeles each year. Yes. A respected community leader known for building strong partnerships across corporate, government, and community sectors, Mrs. Weaver is a graduate of Utah State University, where she became the first African-American woman to be named Alumna of the Year. Her journey is well underway, but nowhere near complete. Mrs. Weaver, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, thank you.
So, let's jump right in. How are you today?
I'm great.
You great?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. I'm feeding off your energy. As long as you good, I'm good. So to start the conversation, I'd love to take it back a little bit. So you grew up around legacy of Brotherhood Crusade. Your leadership at Brotherhood Crusade builds on legacy started by your father. How has that legacy shaped your commitment to serving the community?
I think about my early years, probably your age or younger. I went to all Inglewood schools, La Tierra, Crozier, Inglewood High. And my parents had a house full of folks all the time. So from activists like Angela Davis, entertainers like Quincy Jones, elected officials, but they were just part of the community. And growing up, I'm an ex-collegiate basketball player, played high school basketball at Inglewood High. So grew up across the street from Ladera Park. So I'd come home, go to the park, play ball, come back in the house, and folks were always in our living room. And so when you think about how your parents just served, but more importantly, when people had lost their job, my parents would allow them to live with us for months. Then my brothers would have to share a room. because people were always in our home. And so watching my parents, my mom was an educator, she was a teacher with Los Angeles Unified School District, but really looking at how they cared. And when my father died, I was 18 years of age, and thousands of people overflow at Holman Methodist Church. Reverend James Lawson, who's a civil rights icon, grew up in that church, but his eulogy and all the people and the thousands of people, I knew I wanted to serve others like my father did. And so just thankful that my parents and so many people invested in me as a child to understand how to show up for your community.
Right, definitely. I feel like that story and Brotherhood Crusade is the true definition of it takes a village, you know? So, and speaking on, you know, your father and your parents and everything, what lessons do you feel like from your father still guide you and guide the way you lead today?
I think my number one is to lead with love and care. Right. I think when you work in the community, you have to be accountable to the community. And my father lived that every day of his life. My father was brought to Los Angeles from the Bay Area by Ambassador James Joseph. At the time, he ran Cummins Engine Foundation. And so he was brought here to organize Black folks for the community. He created the Black Congress. And so when you think of educators, corporate leaders, law enforcement, every Black person who had an investment about community, he literally was brought here to organize them, and with the approach of, if we're not willing to help our own people, who will help them? And so when you see that kind of strategy of building from within the community to do something for your own people, it is all about love and care. And then after the Black Congress, my father was like, we need to institutionalize our organization. He took out a second for $15,000 in 1968. He took off of our house to invest in an organization that's now 58 years in the community. And so to understand that you believe in something so big that you're willing to take money from your own family to be able to do something for your own people is incredible. And then also creating the National Black United Fund out of New York. So my father moved to New York, that's where he passed, because he also created the National Black United Fund. Brotherhood Crusade never changed our name, but we were the first, really, of the National Black United Fund model. And so when you think of that, but more importantly, from a historical place, my father sued the federal government because United Way had a monopoly on having people give to the charity. They only could give to United Way. So my father said, this is not right. He sued, he won that lawsuit. Now you have thousands of charities, and especially charities of color, who have access now because of that lawsuit. But unfortunately, after that lawsuit, shortly after that, that's when my father died of a heart attack.
Oh, wow, okay. So was you called it it's the National
Black United Fund.
So for our viewers and audience, me too, can you explain a little to us what the National?
Yeah. So when you think of United Way, back then, people could, if you have a job, you could designate resources to charities. And so those charities, at the time, it was only United Way. Now, like I said, many charities, like the National Black United Fund, they receive funds from folks who work for the federal government. And then they would distribute those funds back to other nonprofits in the community. So it was significant when you think of our model today, our work around trauma-informed youth development, but also we still do grant making, which people don't realize. So we still support nonprofits because that was our history at the very beginning. So we will never change what led us to the work, but now we've expanded the work.
Definitely. And honestly, nonprofits are very, very important. We see that is very important in communities. And piggybacking off of what you were saying earlier on communities, the theme of our conversation is community, and community is the connection. What do you think that phrase means to you at work every day? I know you said love.
Yes.
Yeah, but on top of that.
Yeah, community is care, community is service, community is engagement, community is always bringing your best self into the community when you serve. And so I look at my job as the best job on earth because when you get to serve young people, you get to change lives. And it's hard sometimes for people to put others first before you put yourself.
Yeah.
I have 54 employees.
Right.
So how do I take care of them? I have thousands of young people who are engaged in our program. So how do I take care of them? How do I make sure that our young people have the best of the best in every area of their lives? So that is community. It's saying that we're going to show up, our team is going to show up every day to ensure that we get to pour into young people to change their lives, the trajectory of their lives, but also to ensure that you understand that you can do anything you want to do. If you dream it, if you see it, you can be it. And understanding what does that mean if you never had access. If you never had access to a program like Accelerated Radio, Kevin Nash, who's been building this for 16 years of pouring into young people to change their lives. And so you have to work with like-minded partners. You have to ensure that your brand, when you're doing something, it aligns with your partners. Because again, not only do I have to be accountable to my team, accountable to young people, but everyone who supports our work, I'm representing them. And so that means that if someone like BMO, who is supporting this station, I'm representing them. I'm making sure that as we ask for support to do great programming, what does that look like? How do I bring my best self as a nonprofit leader and a community partner? And so the community connection has layers. You're working with elected officials, you're working with corporate, you're working with philanthropy, but more importantly, if you're not showing up for the community the way they expect you to show up, you won't be here. You won't be relevant. So for us to be relevant for 58 years, the community has built our organization first. We work for young people and we work for our community.
Definitely. And community is definitely like the big foundation of this whole thing, but we know it's a running business as well. So I want to pick your brain more on the business side of things. Over your career, you've helped raise more than $75 million for your community programs, and you mentioned you have over 50 employees. What skills or strategies helped you achieve this impact?
I think number one, being tenacious and not, when someone tells you no, it doesn't bother me. So if you think about 20 years, I've been at the helm. When I started, we had 7 employees, 7 and 1 building on Slauson. Then you think about what strategies do we need to grow, not only serving young people, but serving our community. So then you start thinking about, who do I need to help support this work? What kind of grants align with the work that we're doing? So you little by little by little by little by little, you think of all the buckets of funding. That's how I look at it. We have state grants, we have city grants. That kind of stabilizes our model. Then you look at foundations who support our work, like Conrad Hilton Foundation, James Irvine Foundation, California Endowment, so many folks. So then that allows you to grow and leverage your government grants. Then you look at our amazing fundraiser that we do every year in December. We sell out, we honor one amazing African American with great entertainment. We sell out every year at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, but when we started, we only had 400 people in attendance. So now we sell out and it's 1,100 people every year in the ballroom, and just really guiding the relationships and partnerships. I think when I first became president, I shared with all the stakeholders that they would always hear from me. And so your reputation, providing updates of how the work, how your partnership is making a difference. I work around the clock. Because if we're not telling our story to our partners who are funding our work, why would they continue to support our work?
Right.
And so, and then you think of your team. How do we consistently support our team for them to grow and want to stay here?
Yeah.
Because you have choices in the nonprofit sector. And so I tell people, I want to be a leader with my team, want to be a leader with philanthropy, I want to be a leader with all my partners. But more importantly, if young people don't feel that we're making a difference in their lives, then no one will fund us.
Right.
So you have to always have quality programming, being innovative. And so I always say we're always a learning institution, and engaging with young people. What's next for them? What do they need support? We're taking 6 young people to San Francisco on Monday with OpenAI, a $1 billion corporation now.
Right.
And our young people have access. They've been meeting with our young people. And so looking at how that type of innovation on the front end of AI is a game changer, but more importantly, for our community to have access.
Definitely, definitely. And honestly, you don't just hear about those opportunities on the street. So the fact that, Brotherhood is able to provide these opportunities, especially to inner city youth, is very important to the mission and the change. So definitely want to give you your flowers. You just keep giving you your flowers throughout this interview, because it's definitely dope what you're doing in our community. So leading a team of more than 60 staff members and serving thousands of youth each year requires strong leadership. How do you inspire your team to stay focused on the mission?
I am a very A-type leader. I look at really trying to get everyone involved. I've learned not to micromanage, and the longer I have team members who have been with me learn how to delegate. I'm an ex-point guard. I tell people I lead like a point guard, but have high expectations from everyone across the board, no matter what your position is. If you're a receptionist with us, there is the first point of entry when people come through our doors. So you have to be exceptional. If you want to work at Brotherhood, everyone needs to be exceptional at what they do. And so you try to communicate that. You try to have a standard that everyone can see. I don't need to talk about my leadership. If you are watching how I show up, if you look at how I'm engaging the whole team through communication, through follow-up, making sure everyone has what they need to thrive in the workplace, then everyone will continue to grow. And so if you want to be best in class, there is going to be a high level of expectation that this job is not just a 9-to-5 job. I remember interviewing with Mr. Bakewell, who built our institution for 35 years. And we were in New Orleans. This is before I became president. And he said, Charisse, you need to eat, sleep, drink Brotherhood Crusade. And I started laughing. I was like, oh my God, I already eat, drink, sleep Brotherhood, because I wake up in the morning, I'm at lunch, I'm talking about brotherhood, I go to bed, I'm thinking about, okay, tomorrow what needs to happen. And really, to be successful in the nonprofit sector, you have to understand that this cannot just be a job for the sake of a paycheck. You have to live it. It has to be in your DNA. You have to understand the mission and purpose. And for me, learning my purpose at 18 years of age when my father died, and I talk about it at that funeral, God talked to my spirit and my soul, and I knew if I could touch a third of the people my father touched, my life would matter. And so that means you're sacrificing a lot. But for me, it's the best job on earth, because when you're changing lives and you see the success in real time, you see young people graduating from college. One of my team members, Siobhan, just shared, like, we have 16 graduates this year, students who came through our program and now graduating from a 4-year college. That's everything to me. Are looking at a program that we created with Edison, a line worker program, that when people graduate from that program, they're making 6 figures a year. And so I'm creating with our team, so we're never bored. And so again, but you know, it's hard if everybody can't implement. People have great ideas, but then how do you get it from the paper to reality? And so I think because I've had so many great people in my life to look and see, before I became president, it gave me kind of like peace to know how you show up, but also to be relevant. My interview with Mr. Bakewell, I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna make sure we're relevant another 40 years. And so that means that's a lot, you know, of funding. When funding is drying up, being strategic. Last year, when the person became president, I don't say his name, but I knew, like, what do we need to do for the next 4 years to ensure my team will be okay, young people will be okay. We just literally this week had a great event at the Intuit Dome with Kaiser, because we're a lead for 3 years. And so when you think of that, of like thinking ahead, like, okay, how do I get to 4 years? Like, literally, we have a $15 million plus budget. And so how am I gonna maintain that for the next 3 years?
Right.
So that's a win.
Right.
Because looking proactively around the work, but it aligns with our work. So I'm not trying to create something that we don't already do.
Right. And being a product of Brotherhood Crusade myself, I feel like a way that I remember the mission through your policy is just the way the dress etiquette, the business etiquette, the way you make the students and, you know, us learn that type of stuff that wouldn't have been nothing I naturally knew, especially growing up in urban areas like Leimert Park, Crenshaw District, Inglewood. You know, you don't hear those things every day. So as a woman leading a major nonprofit organization, what challenges did you face along the way, and how did you overcome them?
So my first year, it was very interesting when I became president. People would say to me, in my face, oh my God, what are we gonna do that Danny's gone? Like, I'm the president. And people would say this directly to me, and I would say, I don't know, I guess you'll have to wait and see. Or folks would say, oh, she'll be a good administrator. People would say, oh, that's so great that Danny would give her that job because of her father. So I think it inspired me because people didn't know who I was. And as a woman leader, you understand that people will say what they want to say. Right. But the best way you could ever silence people is to have results. And so it's a whole different song today. Oh my God, we love brotherhood. I can't believe what you've done. So you take anything that anyone ever says and say, they don't know who I am. And so even now, I am very clear on purpose. I'm very clear on how we make a difference in our community. And so if I listen to noise or negativity, we would never be where we are today. But also understanding the sacrifices of my father and Mr. Bakewell and the community who built this organization, I know under my watch, it was never gonna die.
Right.
I just knew. I'm like, they have no idea who I am. And so, and I think that also is good to use it to your advantage. As women leaders, we know how to bring people in. I set up a corporate advisory board my first year with friends who I've known for decades, and they helped build it. When we finished our strategic plan, my first meeting was with Dr. Bob Ross from the California Endowment. I didn't go into the meeting asking him for money. I went into the meeting and said, what do you think of this plan? And from that meeting, actually, it changed my life, because Dr. Ross said, who paid for this plan? I said, you know, we have no money. And I said, George, my husband, and I wrote the plan and met with all the stakeholders in that first year. And if you saw our strategic plan around trauma-informed youth development, it was my Bible. And so it allowed us to now go present in ways where people weren't expecting that. And so it's still relevant today. So I look about all that hard work on the front end.
Yeah.
And that's, again, most people, they just want results immediately. No, you gotta have a plan.
Right.
And that plan, and if you're executing the plan, then you're gonna see results. And we've had bumps along the way. So,
but that's part of it.
Yeah, it has not been smooth sailing. But again, where we are today, 20 years in, I think also as someone who's been in the seat for 20 years, I'm very clear of what I'm gonna tolerate or not tolerate. Right. It took me a minute to get there. If folks don't want to work for our institutions, that's great. We want the best for everybody. So everybody might not be here because it might not be a good fit, but you do want everyone to always be successful. Yeah. And so if it's not here, then you need to be successful somewhere else.
Definitely. Well, I want to thank you so much for being not only a mogul in our community, but just an inspiration to Black women. And thank you for being here today, answering questions. I had fun talking to you. Definitely dropped a lot of key points for me. And I know a lot of gems that our audience can take away. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Next Young Crusaders Career Cafe. Today we had a very special guest, Mrs. Charisse Bremond-Weaver. We will be back next week. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. You're great.
Thank you.
You're natural.